There lived in a small town a rich merchant who was held in high esteem by the local people. He had 3 sons, all married, and a little daughter named Savitri. When the merchant grew old, he wished to go on a pilgrimage with his wife. He expressed his desire to his sons and asked them to take care of their little sister while they were away. A few days after the merchant and his wife had set out on their pilgrimage, their daughters-in-law concocted secret plans to harass the little girl, whom they did not like. One day, one of them said to the girl, "Savitri, take this earthen pot and rope, and fetch water from the well." With the pot on her head and the rope on her shoulder, Savitri started for the well. She tied the rope to the pot and let it down into the well. To her dismay, however, the rope was too short. She was nonplussed. She began to cry because she had been threatened with punishment if she did not fetch water in time. A snake, who was living in a hole nearby, came out and said, "Do not get frightened, my child, tell me why you are crying." Savitri said, "I must take water for my home, but my brother's wife has given me a rope which is too short. In case there is any delay in returning home with the water, she will spank me." The snake took pity on her and said, "Don't worry. Tie me to the rope and see if that helps you." She did so and found that the rope was of sufficient length. She, however, soon found that there was a hole in the pot. By the time the pot came to the top of the well, half the water had leaked out. Savitri again began to cry and told the snake of her plight. A frog who heard the conversation between the girl and the snake came hopping and said, "I shall sit in the pot and plug the hole with my body." This clicked. The girl thanked the snake and the frog and returned home happily with the pot full of water. The frog jumped out of the pot quickly, ticked by her sisters-in-law. The women at home wondered how she had brought water in spite of the fact that she had been knowingly given a short rope and a leaking pot. The second brother's wife thought of some other way of ill-treating the poor little girl. She gave her a basket full of paddy and said, "Sit on that platform and remove the husk." She tried hard to do so but did not succeed. She was again perplexed and she began to cry, "Who will help me this time?" On seeing her in distress, a sparrow flew down and offered to help. She called a number of her friends and they together separated the husk in no time. The girl took the rice and the husk home. Her brother's wife, who had assigned the task to her, weighed the rice and the husk and said, "The rice and the husk together should weigh more. You are careless, go and see if you have vertently left some rice there." Savitri returned to the spot and began to search if any rice had been left there. She found none and so she began to moan. All the sparrows came rushing to her. Said the girl, "My brother's wife complains that the rice and the husk should weigh more." Meanwhile, a sparrow, old in age, came forward and said, "Wait. I shall open my beak. When I was removing the husk, some rice may have stuck in the cavity of my mouth. Please check my mouth and take away the grains, if there are any." Savitri collected the grains from the mouth of all the old sparrows. She then expressed her gratitude to them and returned home. A few days after, the third brother's wife asked Savitri to wash clothes. A bucket full of dirty clothes was given to her with instructions to wash them. Snow white as the wings of a crane. She was, however, not given any washing soap. Taking the bucket of dirty clothes on her head, Savitri reached the village pond, and tried to remove the dirt. With tears in her eyes, she recalled what her brother's wife had ordered her to do. She would receive a beating in case she failed to comply with the instructions given to her. And then she began to cry. A crane who was sporting in the pond heard the girl's moans and flew to her. When asked, Savitri poured out to him her tale of woe. The crane said, "You want to wash clothes white as my wings, is it not? Well, it shall be done. Spread these clothes and watch what I do." The crane rolled on the clothes, and with the magic touch of his wings, the clothes miraculously turned snow white. The girl was wonderstruck and returned home happily. 5 years rolled by. The girl had grown up. Her parents returned from their pilgrimage. Her neighbors reported to them how Savitri had been ill-treated by her sisters-in-law. The girl, however, had not uttered a single word of complaint against them. Nor had she complained to the brothers any time before. The parents were unhappy, but did not take their daughters-in-law to task. When the brothers heard this, they hung their heads in shame. They admonished their wives. They offered sincere apologies to the parents for the neglect and indifference they had shown to their sister. Their wives said, "We were ignorant. We deeply regret our misdeeds. Please forgive us for our unseemly behavior." Savitri was married off to a boy of a cultured family. She lived happily ever after.